The actress Snow White's hiring in the movie was considered bold and progressive by Disney's DEI agenda, but it eventually turned into a disaster of delays, controversy, and criticism. Her apologies were rejected by Disney's own audience. She made this statement in a video that she shared saying, "Unfollow me if you're not voting for Kamala. I do not need your business," showing more than half of the audience her Disney live-action Snow White parody. The decision proved to be the worst Disney has ever done, and it came 3 years before the debut of Snow White, the most significant Disney movie ever. When Rachel made her West Side Story debut 3 years ago, there were clear signs that she would hurt herself in addition to bringing Disney calamity, which was what everyone expected. Rachel continued to make errors, and for a short time trying to fix them made things even more bizarre. She looked amazing, for example, when she was advertising West Side Story. Rachel is eager to highlight her past. The issue then developed into a thorough discussion on what it means to be Latinx. "Do you speak the language?" is one of her inquiries.
This is after posting a video where she said, "If you're not voting for Kamala, unfollow me. I don't need your business," telling over half of the audience for her Disney live-action bastardization of Snow White.
She seemed to be trying to fit into all the boxes and none of them at the same time. She even admitted to having imposter syndrome at the time, explaining, "I haven't done any other film projects, but I'm constantly pinching myself." There was a moment when she seemed really grateful for the opportunity. Unfortunately, however, the moment didn't last long. Rachel exposed her true self when she started to publicly lament her exclusion from the 94th Academy Awards and other gatherings. Recall that her picture was nominated for several awards. Instead, however, she sarcastically declared on Twitter that she would be relaxing on her couch while wearing sweatpants and my boyfriend's flannel. It was rather dramatic, to say the least. She continued after that. She kept posting about how disappointed she was, almost begging her fans to feel sorry for her. And what do you know? It worked. Suddenly, Disney waved their wand and looked like a fairy godmother, sending Rachel an invitation, and to both attend and present. That moment was like turning on a switch for Rachel. "Hey, I have Disney on my side, so I can do anything I want," she said. She was quite serious about it. Let's fast forward to her next big PR disaster. During Shazam's marketing this time, the anger of the gods. When asked why she accepted the role, she made no reference to the character or the narrative. She said plainly, "Nope, I needed a job." Since it's not what you'd expect to hear on the red carpet, several folks were understandably offended. She came wearing a clothing that made a blatant, almost rude statement, which infuriated everyone even more. But the thing that really cemented her reputation was when she was chosen to play Disney's new Snow White. Being chosen for such a well-known post should, in theory, promote professionalism, or at the very least humility. Instead, Rachel used every opportunity to criticize the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. She criticized the storyline, called it outdated, and even admitted that it had shocked her as a youngster, and that she had only watched it once. That attitude isn't exactly what you would expect from someone who embodies a beloved Disney princess. It was disliked by the fans. Disney fans in particular were incensed. Snow White is among the most well-known characters in animation history. The film that started it all was being publicly criticized by the actress. Even worse, the criticism over the dwarf's depiction forced Disney to reshoot and even cancel parts of the movie. Due in major part to these delays and the huge negative reaction, Disney reportedly opted to postpone the release date by a full year. Although they openly blamed it on the actor's strike, insiders said that fear was the real reason. Fear that the film would not do well at the box office because of the controversy surrounding Rachel's comments and the project's overall representation. The main culprit for the total failure of the Snow White adaptation is Rachel Zegler. She could now be the best illustration of how one person can totally destroy a project. More important than the delays or the massive outlay of over $200 million is the fact that Rachel's actions have alienated the same audience that Disney is trying to win over. The massive boycott started after the movie's trailer received 1.3 million dislikes in August. Disney was warned by branding experts that the negative response from fans may spell disaster for their remake and any other planned follow-ups. Crisis talks? Most likely, they were happening behind closed doors.
Rachel Zegler's very, very narcissistic. I'm better than everyone. I know better. I'm going to represent the right version of Snow White for the modern audiences. Not that, love story and all that.
Damage management ought to be beneficial. As part of their PR strategy, Disney published a nonsense piece in Variety to try to normalize Rachel. It had the opposite impact as a spoiler. By playing the victim instead of taking responsibility for her actions or showing any genuine progress, Rachel intensified her polarizing conduct. She didn't appear to have self-control. Despite the fact that the article was meant to enhance her reputation, it totally backfired since it was so obvious. She allegedly apologized after that. Instead of Rachel's honest acknowledgement of mistake, Zegler actually copied and pasted a Disney public relations officer's statements for the audience. The apology came off as cold, premeditated, and, to be honest, fake, and fans knew this. As a result of YouTubers, influencers, and even public people constantly apologizing, audiences have become skilled at spotting hackneyed speech. This also held true for Rachel's apologies, which the internet swiftly analyzed. The responses were severe. Fans attacked her for activities that angered spectators. They emphasized that rather than being a singular mistake, this constituted a distinct personality trait. Some even claim that Rachel was involved in the controversial firing of Gina Carano by Disney. Remember that? Gina was dismissed because of a social media post that several people found offensive. Others, however, assert that Rachel is still permitted to have her job in spite of her far harsher comments. No one was oblivious to the hypocrisy, which only made them more angry. Instead than just rejecting her apology, they made fun of it. Responses flooded in, calling the speech a Disney marketing stunt and accusing Rachel of being dishonest. With comments like, "She doesn't mean it," "Too little," "Too late," and "This is just Disney damage control" dominating the conversation, it was clear that no one was buying it. Some even said that it would have been better if she hadn't apologized at all since the effort just made things worse. The situation is further made more difficult by the torrent of unfavorable press around the film itself. To recoup its $200 million investment, Snow White has to generate at least $400 million, if not more, like $600 million. For any film, much alone one that has been dogged by controversy from the beginning, it is a challenging undertaking. The major reason why fans have been vocal about boycotting the movie seems to be Rachel's involvement. The damage Rachel has caused to Disney is hard to ignore. Even after reshooting several scenes, delaying the release for a year, and spending millions more on the movie, the criticism hasn't subsided. It's becoming louder, actually. To be honest, Disney is most likely counting down the days until this movie is out and they can put the whole situation behind them. Rachel Zegler was not as untouchable as she may have thought, as this catastrophe demonstrates. Tell us what you think about Disney and Rachel's passing in the comments section below. Watch your Disney videos when the audience yells at the actors, so what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.